Have you ever wondered why so many older adults wake up at 3 a.m. and can't seem to fall back asleep? You might lie there in the quiet darkness, staring at the ceiling, wondering what's wrong with your body or your mind. The truth is, this is more common than you think, and it's not just a random habit or a result of getting older in this video. We're exploring 5 powerful reasons why people tend to wake up around 3 a.m. as they age, and what those early morning wake-ups may be trying to tell you. Each reason reveals something deeper about your body, your health, and your life experience. And by the end of this video, you may see your sleep in a whole new light. These aren't just surface-level explanations either. They're rooted in real physiology, psychology, and the rhythms of aging that most people aren't even aware of. We'll talk about changes in hormones, sleep patterns, health challenges, even emotional and social influences that could be quietly working behind the scenes. And we'll do it in a way that's honest, empowering, and deeply respectful of the life you've lived so far. So if you've ever found yourself waking up around 3 a.m. and asking why now you're in the right place, stay tuned until the end, because what you learn here might not only help you sleep better, it could help you better understand and appreciate what your body is going through. Now let's get started. Number 1, reduce melatonin production. One of the clearest reasons older adults wake up in the middle of the night, often around 3 a.m., is the natural decline in melatonin production that comes with age. Melatonin is the hormone that helps regulate our sleep-wake cycle, often called the body's internal clock, and it plays a key role in helping you fall asleep and stay asleep. When you were younger, your body likely produced a strong, steady amount of melatonin each night, allowing you to enjoy long stretches of deep, uninterrupted rest. But as the years go by, your body starts to make less of it. And that shift can have a real impact on how soundly you sleep. You might still fall asleep easily at night, especially if you've had a full day or a relaxing evening. But by the early hours of the morning, 2 a.m., 3 a.m., sometimes 4 a.m., that natural supply of melatonin can dip too low to keep you in that restful state. You may find yourself waking up, not because of a loud noise or a dream, but because your brain is slowly shifting back toward wakefulness without enough melatonin to hold you in sleep. This isn't something you're doing wrong, and it doesn't mean your body is failing. It simply means your internal chemistry is changing with age. What's more, the bedroom environment can make this effect worse. Even small amounts of light from a street lamp outside the window, a blinking clock on the nightstand, or a hallway light under the door can suppress melatonin even further. Your body becomes more sensitive to environmental triggers as you age, which can make that 3 a.m. wake-up feel all the more frustrating. Take, for instance, Harold, who's now 72 and always considered himself a good sleeper lately, though he finds himself wide awake around 3:15 a.m. Most nights he doesn't feel anxious or upset, just fully alert as if it's time to start the day. Once he understood that this wasn't a failure on his part, but a normal part of aging tied to melatonin, he stopped blaming himself and started adjusting his habits. He now keeps his bedroom darker, avoids screens an hour before bed, and takes a brief evening walk to reinforce his natural circadian rhythm. These small changes help signal to his body that it's still nighttime. And while he still wakes up early sometimes, he's learned to work with his body instead of against it. This kind of understanding can be a game changer when you know that waking up early might not be your fault, but rather a natural chemical shift. You can take steps to support your sleep instead of resenting your body. That's the power of awareness. It turns frustration into compassion, and it helps you make wiser choices about how you care for yourself. At night. Number 2, shifted sleep cycle and advanced sleep phase. Another significant reason older adults tend to wake up around 3 a.m. is due to a natural shift in the body's internal clock, a phenomenon known as advanced sleep phase. As we age, our circadian rhythms start to move forward, which means we may begin to feel sleepy earlier in the evening. and wake up earlier in the morning. You might notice yourself nodding off during a late-night movie, or waking up without an alarm at dawn, even on days when you wish you could sleep longer. This shift isn't just a matter of habit, it's deeply rooted in biology, and it can become more pronounced with each passing year. In younger years, the body's rhythm is often aligned with a later bedtime and a wake-up time that feels more in sync with the sun. But as this rhythm advances, the sleep window naturally shifts forward. You may fall asleep at 9 p.m. or even earlier without intending to, which means your body has already gotten its full cycle of rest by the time 3 a.m. rolls around. That's why you might find yourself wide awake in the middle of the night, feeling as though your rest is complete. Even if it's still pitch dark outside, this doesn't mean there's something wrong with you, it just means your body is operating on a different schedule. Now think of it like a clock that's been gently reset over the years, ticking ahead a little bit more each season. And while this isn't harmful, it can be frustrating if your lifestyle, family routine, or personal preferences don't align with this new rhythm. There's also a quiet psychological side to this change. Many older adults live in quieter households or spend more time alone, and that peaceful environment can amplify the body's signals to wind down earlier in the day without the constant activity or noise that might have once delayed bedtime. Your system begins its nightly shutdown process much sooner. And if you're no longer working full-time or following a strict daily routine, the lack of external time cues like meetings, commutes, or social gatherings can make this internal shift even stronger. Let's take a look at someone like Charles, who's 68 and retired. He often eats dinner around 5:30 p.m. and watches television for an hour before heading to bed by 9 p.m. He's asleep, and by 3 a.m., his body is naturally ready to wake up. He doesn't feel anxious or stressed, just alert. At first, he thought it was insomnia, but once he learned about advanced sleep phase, he realized his sleep wasn't broken. It was simply rescheduled. Charles began adjusting his evening routine to stay up just a little longer, reading a book with a warm light, taking a gentle walk after dinner, and occasionally calling his daughter for a quick chat before bed. These small social and sensory cues help stretch his sleep window just enough to shift his wake-up time closer to morning. The result: fewer 3 a.m. wake-ups and a deeper sense of alignment with his daily life. This natural shift in sleep cycle is something many older adults experience, but few talk about understanding it can remove a great deal of guilt or confusion and offer a more compassionate way to work with your body instead of fighting it. So if you're waking up around 3 a.m. and it feels like you've had a full night's sleep, your body may simply be on an earlier schedule now. And once you know that, you can begin to shape your routine in ways that support your well-being. If you're still watching this video and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 2 below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Now let's move forward. Number 3, physical discomfort and health-related interruptions. Another common reason older adults wake up around 3 a.m. is the body's response to physical discomfort or underlying health issues that tend to surface during the quiet hours of the night. As we get older, the chances of dealing with chronic conditions or subtle health problems increase, and many of these conditions have a way of disrupting sleep without sounding loud alarms. They creep in quietly like a sore joint, a full bladder, or a sudden twinge in the back. And that's often enough to bring you out of a restful state right in the middle of the night. Conditions like arthritis, for example, can make lying in the same position for hours uncomfortable. You may not notice the discomfort when you first fall asleep, but after several hours of stillness, those aches can build up enough to nudge you awake for others. Nighttime acid reflux may stir them from sleep, especially if they've eaten dinner too late or reclined too soon after eating. Even something as seemingly simple as dry mouth muscle cramps or a slight change in room temperature can trigger a light awakening around the early morning hours. When your body's defenses are already more sensitive and less forgiving, than they used to be, one of the most common physical reasons older men wake up at 3 a.m. is the need to urinate as we age. The bladder becomes less elastic, and the urge to relieve it can come on faster. And more frequently, you might not feel it during the day when distractions keep your mind occupied, but at 3 a.m. in a dark and quiet room, that sensation becomes impossible to ignore. And once you get up and move around, even if it's just to the bathroom, your body may have already shifted from deep rest to light alertness, making it harder to return to sleep. There's also the issue of medications, which many older adults take regularly for blood pressure, heart health, or pain management. These medications often come with side effects like frequent urination changes in body temperature or increased sensitivity to noise or light that can silently affect sleep. You may not even realize the connection between your medicine and your sleep pattern until someone points it out or you begin tracking your habits more closely. Take Elena, for instance, a 76-year-old woman who has always been a relatively light sleeper over the past year. She started waking up consistently around 3:30 a.m. after months of thinking it was just aging. She spoke with her doctor and discovered that one of her medications was affecting her hydration levels and increasing her nighttime trips to the bathroom with her doctor's help. She adjusted the timing of her dosage, added a few lifestyle changes, and now wakes up less frequently and returns to sleep more easily when she does the important thing to remember. Here is that physical wake-ups don't mean your body is failing. They're actually signs that your body is still doing its job. It's responding, alerting, adjusting. These signals can guide you toward better care, more informed choices, and a deeper sense of trust in your own awareness. Waking up at 3 a.m. may feel like an inconvenience, but it can also be a quiet nudge to tune in, check in, and make small changes that support better health and deeper rest. Number 4, lifestyle habits that shift your sleep rhythm. Another powerful but often overlooked reason older adults find themselves awake at 3 a.m. lies in long-standing daily habits, small routines and choices that over time quietly reshape your internal rhythm. Many older adults naturally begin eating dinner earlier, winding down sooner in the evening, and experiencing less physical activity during the day. These seemingly minor adjustments accumulate and can signal to the body that the night should begin earlier, which inevitably pushes the wake-up time earlier too. When your days become quieter, especially after retirement, your body no longer receives the same external cues it once relied on, like commuting, running errands, or engaging in physically or mentally stimulating tasks. Without those cues, the body's sleep-wake cycle may begin to drift forward. A calm, dimly lit evening with minimal stimulation can cause your brain to produce melatonin earlier, inviting sleep before you've even realized the clock has struck 9 p.m. And once you're asleep earlier, your body simply finishes its rest earlier. Waking up in those still pre-dawn hours, often right around 3 a.m., there's also a subtle relationship between food timing and sleep quality. Eating dinner early, while generally healthy, can sometimes lead to a dip in blood sugar levels overnight, especially if there's no light snack before bed. That dip may not feel like hunger, but it can still rouse the body from sleep. Similarly, caffeine consumed even in the early afternoon can linger in your system, especially as the metabolism slows with age, subtly lightening your sleep and making you more susceptible to waking up at any disturbance. For someone like Walter, who's 74 and recently retired, these changes crept in. Gradually, his days became less structured and his evenings more relaxed. He found himself having supper at 5 p.m, falling asleep in his recliner during the evening news, and heading to bed before 9 p.m. Most nights, without realizing it, his entire routine had shifted a few hours earlier. Before long, he began waking up around 3 a.m, puzzled by why he was wide awake before the birds even started singing. After reflecting on his routine, Walter began making small adjustments, adding a short walk in the afternoon, reading in brighter light during the evening, and avoiding naps after dinner. These changes helped push his natural sleep window just a bit later, allowing his body to settle into a rhythm that aligned more closely with his ideal wake-up time. What's remarkable is how often we overlook the power of routine. Our bodies crave rhythm daily patterns that act like signals telling the brain when it's time to rest and when it's time to rise as those signals weaken or shift. The internal body clock can lose its bearings, leading to earlier and more fragmented sleep. But by noticing these patterns and making thoughtful adjustments, it's possible to gently guide the body back to a sleep cycle that feels more restorative and less disrupted. If you're still watching this video and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 4 below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Now, let's move forward. Number 5, emotional and psychological restlessness. Sometimes waking up at 3 a.m. has less to do with the body and more to do with the mind as we grow older. Emotional layers that were once buried by the busyness of daily life can start to surface in the quiet of the night. These early morning hours when the world is still and distractions are few often become the stage where unspoken worries, regrets, or longings begin to stir. You may find yourself lying awake, not because of noise or pain, but because your mind is quietly sorting through memories, unresolved thoughts, or subtle anxieties you didn't realize were still with you. This kind of restlessness is different from the full-blown anxiety that might strike in youth. It's quieter, more reflective. It can feel like a soft hum in the background, a sense that something is unsettled. Even if you can't quite name it, the mind, when not actively engaged, often reaches backward into old relationships, past decisions, losses endured, or words left unsaid. And because the body's no longer rushing from one responsibility to another, there's space for those thoughts to echo a little louder. It's also important to recognize that loneliness can play a role here for many older adults. Social circles shrink with time, children move away, friends become busy, and routines change. The daytime might be filled with light and activity, but nighttime brings quiet, and with it an awareness of that emotional gap. This kind of loneliness doesn't always feel heavy. Sometimes it shows up simply as a desire for connection or a faint ache for someone to talk to when the house is still considered someone like Gloria, who's 80 and widowed during the day. She keeps busy tending her garden, calling her grandchildren, watching her favourite shows. But around 3 a.m, she often finds herself waking up her thoughts, returning to moments she shared with her late husband, or to worries she keeps tucked away during the daylight hours. At first she thought something was wrong with her sleep, but over time she came to understand that her early waking wasn't about sleep at all. It was her heart asking to be heard to support herself. Gloria started keeping a small journal by her bed when she wakes up. She sometimes writes down whatever's on her mind, nothing fancy, just a few honest thoughts. She also added a quiet evening ritual, like listening to soft music or writing a short note to a friend. These little acts of reflection and connection gave her emotions a gentle outlet, easing her mind and helping her return to sleep more peacefully. The truth is, the human heart doesn't follow a strict schedule. It remembers what it wants to remember, asks the questions it needs to ask, and sometimes does all this at 3 a.m. when everything else is quiet. But that's not a flaw. That's a sign of depth. If you find yourself waking up and feeling reflective, it might mean you're carrying wisdom that's ready to be acknowledged. You've lived through joys and heartbreaks, and those experiences shape not just your memories, but your very sense of self. Rather than seeing these wake-ups as something to fix, try approaching them with curiosity and kindness. What is your mind trying to tell you? What do you need to give voice to what part of you needs a little grace? Even in the dark, sometimes the most meaningful kind of rest comes not from ignoring these moments, but from honouring them. In doing so, you may find not only better sleep, but a richer understanding of yourself in this stage of life. Final thoughts. As we wrap up this video, take a quiet moment to reflect on what you've just heard. What resonated with you the most? Was it the shift in your internal clock, the subtle changes in your health, or perhaps something deeper, an emotional rhythm that only shows itself when the world is still? Each of these 5 reasons offers a different lens through which to understand your early morning wake-ups, and none of them point to something wrong or broken. In fact, they each reveal how deeply your body and mind are still working, still responding, still adapting as you move through this stage of life. There's a quiet power in understanding what your body is trying to say, especially in those soft hours before dawn, rather than seeing 3 a.m. wake-ups as a nuisance. You might begin to see them as messages, gentle signals reminding you to listen a little more closely to your needs, your habits, and your heart. You're not alone in this experience, and you're certainly not the only one searching for answers. But with insight comes strength, and with strength comes the freedom to make small, meaningful changes that support better rest, deeper comfort, and a stronger connection to your own rhythms. If you've recognized yourself in any of these reasons, today know that you're not just aging, you're evolving. And with that evolution comes a chance to rest more intentionally, to care for yourself more gently, and to greet each morning with a bit more understanding and peace. Thank you for joining us today. We'd love to hear from you. Leave a comment below and share one thing you learned today and how you plan to use it in your life. Your thoughts are important to us, so don't hesitate to share them. Reading your comments gives us great motivation and encouragement. If you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, please like, subscribe, and share. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Thanks for watching, and we look forward to seeing you in the next video.